Yo guys, Beast, back with some more beastly content. Today we're going to be doing a build showcase of my build for my Pyroclasm starter. The mod we are using is Flame Resonance, and it gives you a max burn stack of 2 and a burn duration of -20. That goes along with one of our mods, I do believe it's the helmet mod. Actually, is the reason why we want those 2 extra burn stacks, because it will be increasing our damage by a decent amount of percentage. So we use a 3 set of black stone, and then we use a 1 set of the Bastille, a 1 set of Lone Wolf, and we also use the fire rune boots. My fire rune boots are at star level 6. My Pyroclasm is at star level 5, and all my other armor does have a decent amount of starring to it as well. So this is a pretty good build. We are going to get into the mods now. I am using the heat version of the Blackstone armor set. If you didn't know, you can actually put hot rock and cold rock into it to make it either like a heat set or a cold set, where it has 5% cold resist or 5% heat resist instead of, 2.5 of both. But helmet mod is the Elemental Havoc mod. I will have the silo drops on screen now. The Bastille Mosque has the Blaze Amplifier mod. Every stack of burn grants 3% PSI intensity damage. That's why we want 10 stacks instead of 8. Enduring Shield. This is just like the buffing one. This is like a defense one, but we also have the elemental damage boost in our attribute effects. That's the other thing. You're looking for elemental damage boost in your attribute effects. Reload Rampage. We didn't have one with an elemental boost, so we're using one with a magazine capacity boost, which is fine, especially when we're going against the bosses, because having the extra ammo can really help. And on to the next mod after Reload Rampage on the pants there. We had Elemental Overload on the gloves, elemental damage, blaze, frost, shock, and blast, plus 16 base, plus the 6.4 we're getting from the attribute effects. We're getting like about 24% of a boost there, versus the 20% we'd be getting from using the status enhancement mod. So that's why we prefer to use the Elemental Overload mod, but status enhancement will also work if you don't have it. So another one is going to be the Ruthless Reaper mod, and I love this mod, guys. Every 2 kills refills 100% of your magazine, and with this gun, unless you personally reload the gun, it will not use deviation particles. So you can get them to stack up to 4 before choosing to reload your gun, and then every 2 kills that you get, you will get your full magazine back, which when you have 34 bullets in a shotgun, you're really not running into many situations where you're not going to be able to get 2 enemies killed within 34 bullets. So it's pretty much an infinite ammo build for most silos and things like that. Even on the hard mode, as you can see here, this is running to the end of silo Taurus here. We're just going to be showing the boss mainly. I was showing the enemies before, because whenever I do this and I'm using this build, I like to challenge the enemies in the hallway to do the damage boost, so hopefully I can get to the 4 particles so I can do a reload and get my extra damage from the Dragon's Breath ammunition. But that's a key takeaway from this build, is making sure that you get your deviation particles up to 4 before you do a reload, and then never ever reload yourself unless you have to and you actually run out of ammo, because there's not many situations where you are actually ever going to run out of ammo, because you're able to just kill 2 enemies and get 100% of your magazines back. You can keep the Dragon's Breath ammunition. It says for the rest of the magazine, but if the magazine never ends, you're gonna have the Dragon's Breath ammunition damage as long as you never reload your gun or die. So very OP having that Reload Rampage, or I think it's Reload Rampage. No, it's like something Ruthless Reaper. Anyway, regardless, very good mod. And as you can see here, this build can absolutely melt. As you can see, the deviated particles are charged up. Go ahead and do a reload. Boom, we have the damage now. How well does it melt? Well, I'll tell you how well it melts, because the boss is now dead, guys. That is how you kill the boss super duper quickly there. Go ahead and collect the treasure here, and let's get on to the next one. Now, I like to challenge myself when I play this game, and when I seen the Secret Servitor boss on hard, I figured that one would be kind of difficult to do a shotgun build on. Now, this really wouldn't be too bad of a boss to beat with this build if it wasn't for the second phase of this boss. On the second phase of this boss, it's actually not it's not possible to actually gather deviated particles. I'm sure if you planned it out better within this phase before you got to the next phase and were able to go to the next phase with 34 bullets, you might have a little bit better of a time, but once you run out of those, On that phase, you're stuck purely based upon base damage without having the deviated particle perks, which is the core perk of the gun. So this is definitely not the best boss to be challenging against with this gun. They honestly need to do something about this deviated particle issue, where sometimes, like even in Silo Delta, for instance, the boss on Silo Delta, the particles can get stuck up on the stage and not actually return to your character, so you're not actually able to ever charge your particles on some areas, simply due to the design of the map and the design of them not making the particles I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a further range the particles can be from you before they actually go to you, because currently they get stuck on a lot of unreachable areas and you're never actually able to grab your particles, which really sucks and really does bring down the full potential of the build, which is also why the Secret Servitor is the last boss we're going to be challenging, because it's actually going to take the remainder of the video to beat it with this build. Once again, the build's not bad, and it's not bad at all. As you can see here, we're doing good damage here. It's the second phase where we're going to get stuck into it taking forever. And the thing is with monoliths, really, even with the Forsaken Giant, all of them have their own sort of mechanic system to them. This one will strike you dead with lightning if you don't know how to run real quick. So every single time you see it sit down, do not aim down your sights, because this bee right here will strike you dead with some lightning super duper quickly, eat up that one adrenaline shot you got, and you'll be done. And you'll be like, oh wow, it's sitting down, the perfect time to do some damage. You get a little bit of damage in, and then you're dead. So yeah, just something to keep an eye on. This boss is a blast on hard mode, though. I really do recommend challenging this boss on hard mode and really testing out your build on the Secret Servitor hard and pro mode eventually when that actually gets here, though I'm going to be doing the black sector, not this silo. I just wanted a little test of the silo, this kind of lets me see how I'm going to be able to do against the black sector. And honestly, I think we're going to be going Frost Vortex in phase 3, and we're going to get off of the acs12 Pyroclasm. But I did just want to show you kind of the complete version of my build. I am missing two things. We are not using a food buffing item. We are only using tungsten shotgun ammo, not tungsten shotgun AP ammo made from Stardust source at the moment, so we're missing out on that damage. Our helmet I don't think our helmet actually has a piece of velvet on it. I don't think we're getting that extra status bonus there. And then there's a food item, the spicy diced rabbits, and then there's a drink item of the whimsical drink. Whimsical drink is 25% more damage to status damage, and the food item is a percentage boost to burn damage. And I even have the specialization mimetic for the spicy canned diced rabbit that gives you even more of a burn damage. So if we had our items, our consumable items that would boost our damage, and our deviation wasn't a level 1 snapshot, we would be doing even more damage with this build. But this build is already able to handle normal and hard, and I was even able to handle hard when I was using copper ammo. The ammo doesn't really matter too much with this build. You can use copper ammo and go beat any silo on hard mode with this build. Absolutely no problem. You can even beat any monolith on hard mode, absolutely no problem. I should have showed tree ant just so that you could have seen me absolutely melt a silo. And honestly, I might throw in some tree ant somewhere, but I don't think we're gonna use tree ant today, just because we're doing Secret Servitor. And as you can see here, once again, Servitor's almost dead. If they were to stay in this plane, we would have been able to beat the Secret Servitor super duper easily. But like I said, in that second phase area, that all white area in the sky, you cannot collect the deviated particles, which makes it very, and as you can see here, I thought we were done here. I just didn't realize we still had one rift to drill an anchor shot here. We did get back up. We are going to finish this stupid boss here. But like I said, this is a fun boss to do on hard. This is, if you're looking for a challenge, go try Secret Servitor on hard mode while we're waiting on the phase 3 to unlock so we can actually do black sector, But as you can see here, once again, the deviated particles are all either being trapped inside of the boss's body itself or floating around the boss's body, kind of just trapped in the air, and they're not falling off onto the platform for the Secret Servitor on this phase. This is a huge problem for this build. This build would be able to clear this boss a lot easier, and it would have a lot more of a time like all the other builds does if only they made it where the particles were able to fall onto the platform here on phase 2. You are forced to enter into bullet sponge mode and just blast and blast and blast until this thing is dead, because you cannot, no matter what, get your deviated particles. You can get your burn stacked up, you can get all the other buffs from the mods, but you cannot get your deviated particles on this second phase here, which is what makes up a large majority of the damage from this build. And as you can see here, we are so close to the end here. But this is just kind of something I wanted to like show, not only just to show the build, but also just to kind of point out the devs really need to do something about the deviated particles, because it makes the acs12 Pyroclasm a gun that you don't want to use in some situations where you should be able to use it, but because of the design of the levels and the design of the deviated particles itself, you're not actually able to collect them, and you're not able to get nowhere near the damage that you actually would want. Why would you even want to use this build when you can use any other? And I know it's just versus Secret Servitor and technically Delta, but Delta seems better now. It seems like the particles do actually go to your character now, so I'm guessing the devs worked on that. They don't seem to have worked on Secret Servitor on this phase here, because you just cannot get the deviated particles from here. And yeah, and I know I should have like chosen an area where I was able to get the deviated particles and show the full damage, but we did Silo 08's boss, we showed how easy of a melt that was, and now we're showing that even if we have to brute force with this build, we can still clear absolutely any content in this game with this build. Absolutely no problem. This is the Pyroclasm acs12 build that I would recommend to be using for everything. You should try this thing in a point of interest, for instance, like the highest level one where you're going to challenge like the vulture shield guys, and the one that's like standing there shooting all the orbs out. Like, completely obliterates it. This is the quickest kill I've ever seen on that, ever. But as you can see here, Secret Servitor is dead, and the Secret Servitor is actually 8.5k XP per kill, so maybe y'all should stop farming Tree Ant and go do hard mode Secret Servitor, if you can beat it. But I do believe this is about the end of the video. Go ahead and leave a like on it if you did enjoy it, and keep it beast mode.